Today we're going to review the top 3 online homeschooling programs on the market: Time4Learning, Power Homeschool, and Miacademy. We'll review all of the features so you can decide which is the ultimate best ever online homeschooling program. So let's get started. First, we'll go over the basics. So these are all complete online homeschooling programs that you can use to homeschool your children through elementary, middle, and high school. But there are slight differences. With Time4Learning and Power Homeschool, there's also a preschool curriculum, and Miacademy is actually a kindergarten through 8th grade curriculum, but they do have a sister company called Mia Prep, and that's where you can go to get their high school curriculum. These are all secular curriculums, but with Miacademy, you can add their Bible course. I also just want to mention that these are all considered homeschooling programs, not schools. So you won't be getting a diploma or an official transcript from any of these companies. However, for high school, Mia Prep does offer an accredited online high school option. For Power Homeschool, it's actually the same exact thing as Acellus Academy, so you could switch over to Acellus if you were looking for an accredited school option. And for Time4Learning, you could switch over to Brightspire Virtual School for middle and high school. So you do have those options, but in this video, we're just going to be comparing the online homeschooling program. The pricing for all of these programs is pretty similar, but Power Homeschool is on the cheaper side. There is no free trial, but you'll pay $31.25 per student, and that will include up to 7 courses. And that price is the same for all grade levels. With Time4Learning, there's also no free trial, but they do have a 14-day money-back guarantee. I also do have a $10 off coupon for Time4Learning, and I have left the details for you in the video description below. The pricing on Time4Learning is separated by grade level. For elementary school, the cost is $29.95 a month and includes 4 core courses plus time for Math Facts, which is like a math practice app. For middle and high school, it's $39.95 a month for up to 7 courses. You also get 30% off for each additional student, and you can save 10% if you purchase an annual plan. You can also add a foreign language for $59.95 for 6 months. For Miacademy, which is for kindergarten through 8th grade, you can test out the program for the first month for $1.99. After that, the cost is $42 a month per child, and you can save by purchasing a yearly or a lifetime plan. You can also inquire about financial aid and about discounts for additional students. I have heard that they do actually respond and offer discounts. For Mia Prep, which is the high school version of Miacademy, you can get your first month for $9.95, and then after that, it'll be $48 a month per student. And again, you can save by purchasing the yearly or lifetime plan. I also just want to mention that I am filming this video during Black Friday, so some of the discounts or the prices you see might not be active any longer. Okay, so now let's talk about the curriculum that each of these online homeschooling programs has to offer. And this is where you're really going to start to see some differences that might help make your decision a little bit easier. So first, let's talk about the course offerings, and then I'll show you the student dashboard for each program and what a lesson actually looks like. We'll start with Time4Learning. So for elementary school, you're getting math, language arts, science, and social studies. You'll also get the time for Math Facts included that I mentioned earlier. And you can add on the foreign language program for an additional fee. For middle school, you'll have the same core classes plus electives such as art history, computer applications, environmental science, an intro to communications and speech. For high school, the math courses go up to pre-calculus. Science includes biology, chemistry, and physics, and you can choose from 15 elective options. For Miacademy, you'll get the same core math, science, social studies, and language arts curriculums. You'll also get quite a range of electives included, such as music, art, world languages, and Bible studies. Mia Prep, the high school component of Miacademy, also includes math up to pre-calculus, the same core science courses, Spanish 1, 2, and 3, life skills, music and art, and Bible studies. Power Homeschool will also include the same core curriculum that you would expect in an online homeschooling program. They have some extra elementary social studies courses, including California, Missouri, Ohio, and Wyoming state history. So those might be fun if you happen to live in any of those states. They also have elementary electives such as Intro to Coding, Foundations of Music, and Spanish. For middle school, they offer a few different foreign language options, a health course, and several other electives. For high school, their math courses actually include AP Calculus and Statistics, which is something the other two online homeschooling programs on our list today do not offer. They also include several other AP courses, health, fine arts, several foreign languages, and several STEM courses, including AP Computer Science. So this is probably the most extensive course list of the three programs, but a course listing is only as good as the actual course. So we'll take a look at some examples of the courses now. So we'll start with Time4Learning. And after I show you all three of these programs from the student's perspective, I will also show you the parent dashboards of each program because there are some differences. However, I do also want to mention that I do have full review videos of all of these programs on my channel. This video would just be way too long if I went into every detail here. So I have left the links for you in the video description so you can watch the full videos if you need to. Okay, so here's how the main student dashboard on Time4Learning looks. Depending on how you set things up for your child, they may have a custom plan up here under My Plan, but they can also just choose any course to get started. I wanted to try to compare the three programs by showing you basically the same exact lesson for each, but with Power Homeschool, you can't just pick any lesson you want. You have to start at the beginning and go in order. We'll get into that more later when we talk about customization, but for now, I'll just show you a lesson from 5th grade math for each program. And I'm not going to show you the entire lesson because that would make this video over an hour long, so I'll just show you a sample. So for Time4Learning, this is how the lessons usually look. An activity followed by a quiz. And as you can see here, I can pick any lesson I want and go in any order I want. Obviously, you're meant to go in order, but I just want to make you aware that you can skip around. I also want to show you that if you click Resource under any activity, there will be something that you can print out for offline work. I think that's really important that they include this. Stay tuned because not all of these programs have printable activities. Okay, so here's the lesson. And you'll notice a lot of the lessons on here are going to be cartoon videos like this. That's one of the common complaints about Time4Learning. Some of the lessons may just be too babyish for a lot of kids. Not all of the lessons are like this, but a lot of them definitely are. I haven't tested Time4Learning for high school yet, so let me know if you want to see a review of Time4Learning for high school. One thing you'll notice with Time4Learning that I do like is that there will be questions to answer during the lesson. So they break it up instead of having a child just watch the whole video first. I do like that as I think it can get boring to watch a whole video before trying any practice problems. And that goes for all the subjects, not just math. They do tend to break up the lessons like this, and I like that better than the format of just watching the whole video first. And then after the lesson activity, there's usually a short quiz like this to check for understanding. So you can just go through and answer all the questions and it will be graded in real time. Okay, so that's a typical lesson on Time4Learning. Now let's switch over to Miacademy. So on Miacademy, if you follow the learning path, then you would go in order and do the lessons that it has assigned for you to do each day. But you can also go to all lessons and pick a lesson. So I want to pick a lesson on fractions so we can compare it to how the lesson looked on Time4Learning. So we'll pick this lesson. So usually on Miacademy, the lessons will start with a PDF that you can print off. And as you can see, this is a lot more to print than there was on Time4Learning. Miacademy does have a lot of PDFs like this. So if you want a program that has offline work to complete as well as the online work, this might be a good choice. And then next, there will be a video to watch. The lessons on Miacademy usually have real people teaching the lessons rather than cartoons, which I think many kids might appreciate. The only thing that I don't like about the videos on Miacademy is that a lot of them are just a person in front of a plain background, which can get repetitive. And unlike Time4Learning, you'll watch the whole video first before doing any practice problems. After watching the short video, you'll attempt some practice problems. And once you're done with that, there will be an assessment. And just like on Time4Learning, you could break this up. You could watch the video, maybe do the practice problems, then come back later to do the assessment. It doesn't need to be all done in one sitting. You could switch to a different subject or just take a break. So that's how the lessons typically look on Miacademy. And now let's take a look at Power Homeschool. And as I said before, we can't pick and choose the lessons on Power Homeschool. You have to go in order. And since I don't want to have to do a whole bunch of lessons just to get to fractions, I'm just going to show you the next lesson here. This is usually the same teacher they have for the math lessons. The videos are definitely a little more engaging than on Miacademy, and they always have real people, unlike Time4Learning, but some of them are definitely on the older side. These videos also tend to be longer than the videos on Time4Learning and Miacademy. But they definitely seem to be good quality lessons. Although you're going to have to watch the whole video through before you get to do any practice problems. There also isn't anything to print on Power Homeschool. There are some text things that you can view, but you can't print anything. And there are also no offline worksheets for any of the courses. And usually after the video, you'll get to do some practice problems, and those will be graded in real time. Okay, so that's how the lessons on each of these homeschooling programs look. There are definitely some similarities and differences, and it might really be up to the individual child as to which type of lesson they prefer. Now, before we go over the pros and cons of each of these programs to hopefully help you make your decision, I just want to show you the parent dashboard for each of the programs. And this is going to be a very brief overview because I do have those full videos on my channel if you need to see this really more in depth. Okay, so we'll start with Time4Learning. So on the main screen, you'll get a little overview of your child's recent activity. Under Manage Students, you can change their courses and view the scope and sequence for each course. And if you click on one, this is also where you can access the offline resources bundles for each course. These are pretty good and something that definitely adds to the experience on Time4Learning because there's quite a bit of offline work here if you know where to find it. If you click on Lesson Planning and Reports, this is where you can make a personalized plan for your child. There is a lot of customization that you can do here, and it's something that I like about Time4Learning. I go over this in detail in another video, so we won't do that here. You can also generate progress reports here at any time and print them off for your records. Next, we'll switch over to Miacademy. Under Curriculum, you can see all the courses your child is currently enrolled in. You can change the courses, add additional courses like electives, and set up their schedule however you want, including setting certain courses for specific days of the week. You can do a lot with this, so be sure to check out my full review videos if you want to see how to set this up. You can also view your child's attendance records, generate a report card, and view their gradebook. On Power Homeschool, you can see the courses your child is enrolled in here and add or remove courses. You can also change the grade level for each course. You can set a weekly goal for how many steps your child should complete for each course over here. And here on the main dashboard, you can see your students' progress through the courses and current grade. You can also generate several different reports to print out for your records. So that's how everything looks on these 3 different online homeschooling programs. I know that was a lot and this is already a super long video, but there are just a few more things that I want to talk about, and then we'll go over the pros and cons of each program so you can hopefully make the best decision for your family. So one thing that's different with Miacademy is they have a community aspect. Your kids can play games with other kids. They can create videos or watch videos created by other students. They can even make friends and message each other. You can turn this off in the settings if you don't want your kids to have access to the community features, but it's definitely something extra that you get with Miacademy. So if that's something that's important to you or your child, this might be a good option for you. You're not going to find those features on Time4Learning or Power Homeschool. I also want to mention again, in case you missed it earlier in the video, that with Power Homeschool, you're not going to get those same type of customization features that you'd find on Time4Learning or Miacademy. And that's really too bad, because after all, these are just homeschooling programs that happen to be online. They're really no different than if you just purchased a curriculum to do at home. But if you had your own curriculum at home in a textbook, you'd be able to skip over lessons or even entire chapters if your child catches on quickly or already knows the material. This is kind of one of the perks of homeschooling, being able to go at your child's pace. And with Miacademy and Time4Learning, you can skip over lessons. You can pick and choose which lessons to include in the program. But with Power Homeschool, you just have to start at the beginning and work your way through whether you know the material or not. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so now as promised, let's go over the pros and cons of each program. We'll start with the pros. So for Time4Learning, one of the pros is affordability. For elementary school, it is the least expensive, especially if you purchase the year up front. Another pro is all of those printable worksheets that you have access to. It's really great and important that they include that. And I also like that most of the videos are broken up with questions during the video instead of having kids watch the whole video first and then answer all of the questions after. And there's also a lot of customization for parents. As for the pros of Miacademy, well, they also have a lot of printable resources included with the program, which I think is great. They're also the only one of these 3 programs that includes a Bible course. So if that's something that you want included, you're not going to find it on Time4Learning or Power Homeschool. And it's also the only program that offers that community aspect where your kids can interact with other students. So that definitely sets it apart. There are also a lot of customization options for parents to be able to set up their child's schedule however they want. And there are a lot of elective options. For Power Homeschool, one of the pros is the upper level courses that they offer. This is also the only one of the 3 programs that has AP courses. So if that's something you're looking for, you're not going to find it on Miacademy or Time4Learning. These videos are also probably the best quality, even if some of them are a bit outdated. And you'll also be getting the same curriculum that they use with their accredited online school, Acellus Academy. So if that's something that's important to you, this might be a good option. And now for the cons. Well, for Time4Learning, I think the biggest con is the cartoon lessons. I've only reviewed up to 5th grade so far, but I've mostly seen either these type of cartoon lessons or slideshows with pictures with just someone talking over the slideshow. And that might not appeal to a lot of children. Some children might find those cartoons to be a little babyish. I've also heard of parents having some technical difficulties where the lesson will be completed, but it won't show as having been completed. And they don't include any AP courses or any math beyond pre-calculus. For Miacademy, one of the cons for some parents might be the community features. Although you can block them, that is kind of one of the big draws of this program, and it can be distracting. There's a lot of ways to waste time on this program without actually completing any lessons. I also think the video format can be repetitive. The videos often look very similar where you kind of can't tell one from the next, and the video question assessment format never really changes. It's also the most expensive option unless you're able to get some financial aid from them. For Power Homeschool, for me, the biggest drawback is the lack of customization. It's a bummer that you can't just use this curriculum however you see fit. There's absolutely no skipping over any of the lessons. So it's more like school at home than any of the other programs on this list. The videos are also the longest of any of these programs, and some of them appear to be decades old. There also aren't any printable resources, which is really too bad. Hopefully this video helped you to make a decision of which of these online homeschooling programs is best for your family. If you found this video helpful, please let me know by either giving it a like or leaving me a comment. I really do appreciate it. And if it helped you to make a decision on one of these online homeschooling programs, I'd love to hear which one you decided to go with. Thank you so much for watching.